We're talking today about the 5 steps to get your first arbitrage deal on Airbnb. I know you're gonna get great value from this video and you're gonna wanna keep on getting great value from this channel, so subscribe and hit that notification bell. Hey guys, today we're talking about the 5 steps to get your first Airbnb arbitrage. This is a question I get all the time and it's such a hot topic in Airbnb. Everyone wants to try their luck at Airbnb arbitrage, but they don't even know where to get started. We're gonna do a very 5,000 foot overview today of what that looks like, but if you're ready to take that first step, you're definitely going to want to download my free course. We'll talk about that more at the end. So before we get into these 5 steps, we need to make sure that you actually know what Airbnb arbitrage is. This is something that was made popular right around 2013, 2014, and it was simply a person saying, hey, I don't have enough money to go buy a house, so let's solve this problem by renting one instead. So instead of buying a house, listing it on Airbnb, and putting upwards of maybe 6 figures into owning that house, you simply go to a landlord and tell them, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Landlord, I'd like to rent your property and then sublease it on Airbnb, not in those terms, by the way, and you keep all the profits. You have about 80% less startup costs because you're not buying the house, you're just furnishing it and maybe paying for the security deposit and first month's rent. And then whatever your expenses are and whatever your profits are, you're keeping the difference. So if you rent it from the landlord for $1,000 and then you rent it out on Airbnb at a nightly rate of $100 per night, you're fully booked, that's $3,000 for the month. You made $3,000, you spent $1,000, called another $500 on utilities, you just netted $1,500 on a property that you don't even own. When I found this out about Airbnb arbitrage, I went all in, I got a course, I got going, and I had my first one in under 4 weeks. Now today, 2.5 years in, we're at 50 properties, 45 of which we don't even own. With all that being said, let's go ahead and show you these top 5 ways. The first thing you wanna do, it's pretty boring, but it's so necessary. Start an LLC. Now with that LLC, there's a couple reasons why I think you should start it. And number one is it's just a mindset. It takes you from, I'm gonna try this to, hey, I'm really doing this thing. As soon as you register your LLC with the state, you're definitely at that point where you're like, okay, I'm doing this. This is a business. Let's get this started. The easiest way to do this is just go to your Secretary of State website and start a new business. Now, part of having a new business too is having good marketing materials and a good website. We talk about that just a little bit more in my free course. Make sure to stay tuned at the end when I talk about that. The second step is picking your market. Now, you might have the luxury of living in a great place to do Airbnb. It might be right in your backyard. You might even have properties that you can go to that are on the same street as you, and that's a great way to get started in Airbnb arbitrage. But if you don't have that luxury and you need to find a new city, or heck, even if you need to figure out is your city the right place for an Airbnb, you need to start doing the research. The easiest way to do that is with AirDNA. The easiest way I can explain AirDNA is it's like the multiple listing service of Airbnb. So just like on the MLS, when you go to look for a house to buy, on AirDNA, you can go on there and look for a house to see if it would make money on Airbnb. Click on the link in the description below. You can get your free account set up with AirDNA right now. One recommendation I have for you with AirDNA is make sure you're going off of data and not the way that you feel, because when you go off of the data, you know exactly what is possible. When you go off the way that you feel, like, hey, I think this will be a good neighborhood, this feels like it would make a lot of money because it's by the water. When you go off of that, the data isn't there, and sometimes you can find yourself upside down on a deal. Now that you know where your market is, you have your business set, it's time to actually find the deals. Now at this point, you've hopefully done enough research on AirDNA to figure out, hey, I know that I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this neighborhood. It's gotta have the pool, or it's gotta have X, Y, and Z amenity. In other words, you've kind of set your avatar property at this point. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go find that property online. Some sites that are really easy to find properties: HotPads, Zillow, Facebook Marketplace. If you're really desperate, Craigslist, but I would say stay off of that. These are all versions of cold marketing. Now, the eventual goal is to get you to have warm marketing leads where your phone is ringing. Step number 4 is set the appointment. And guys, it's as simple as this. You dial the phone number, you get the landlord on the phone, and you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Landlord, property at 1234 Main Street, I'd love to come see it. When can I go see it? Boom, set the appointment. That's literally all you have to do. Don't overcomplicate it, don't pitch it over the phone, get the appointment set in person. And step number 5, the final step here, is just go ahead and execute the appointment. A lot easier said than done. This is an art. This is something that you really have to master, and you have to know how to solve the problem for the landlord. Now, this is definitely an art. This is something that you need to figure out beforehand. You got to practice with yourself, you got to practice with landlords, and you just have to do it again and again and again until you get really good at it. And of course, if you want to get really good at that, all you have to do is download my free course. It's called How to Get Your First Airbnb Arbitrage. It's right there at my website, fearlesskyle.com, or you can click on the link down below. This has been the 5 ways to get your first Airbnb arbitrage. Go out there, conquer the world of Airbnb, and let me know when you get that first one.